Hi, this is Chris. Welcome back to my Commonplace Book videos. This will be part 2 where I'm going to finish the cover. And I thought before we get started on the cover, I'll show you that I just started to use my Commonplace book. Here is the index, and so how this works, if you missed my last video, the index is where you put down the topic. So my topic is human nature. It's what I want to study. And the first book I'm reading is The Highly Sensitive Person, and that will start, my notes for that will start on page 1. And so here's page 1, and these are the notes that I'm taking on that book, and they will go along here, and then I can start another topic. I can write the book. See, I wrote the book here. I write the chapter, the page that the notes come from. And that is how I keep my Commonplace book. I'll put some information in the description box below of the history of Commonplace Book and how other people use theirs. And I'll put in links to some videos on how scholarly people use it and how creative people use it. I added a bookmark. I glued it right in here. And that keeps my place. I have a little knot at the bottom. This is a piece of sari silk. So today I want to concentrate on the cover. First I'm going to fix the little divot in the back. This is from the file folder. So you can see from the file folder. I'll take my bookmark out. You can see the divot from the file folder, and after I glued in the bookmark I remembered I had this scrap, and I could probably glue this in here and trim it so that I don't have that little empty space. Even though it's going to be covered with cardstock, I think I would like to do that. So I'm going to take this out like that. I'm going to open the book about halfway just so it's flat. And I'm going to, this file folder is really old and bent up. Then I'm going to get a piece of some thin paper. I'll find some thin paper. I found some tissue paper. That's pretty thin. And I think what I'm just going to do is put some scrap paper under here to protect my other pages. And I'm going to lay this down here and then glue on the tissue paper. Alright, that's dry. I think I forgot one of my lights. Yeah, that's a little better. Now for cover, that's the exciting part. Originally I had picked out a couple papers. I picked these out mostly because they were neutral and a heavy stock. But then I remembered I had these Tim Holtz papers, and I thought maybe this would be better for a Commonplace book. So I have to go through these and decide if there's something here that would make a good Commonplace book. I also have this book, Ready to Use Marbleized Papers. They're 11.5 by 18-inch sheets for craft projects by Judith Sermon and Judith Pierce. This was published in 1979 by the General Publishing Company. I purchased this last summer from Discover Books, online used bookstore. I just did a search for ready-to-use marbleized papers by these authors or artists, and anyone who has these books in their online store, it should come up. But there's several of these papers. I thought I might use this on the inside cover. Something in here. These are actually printed copies of original marbleized paper made by these two artists. They're both named Judith. So I think I'll save that for the inside of the book. I'm going to use this one. This one is too much like accounting. This one's a little too plain, although I could add to it. I think I like this one. It's a shop that I looked up some of these words. Make brushes, paint brushes, sponges. One reason I glue this in sections is because art glitter glue dries so quickly that sometimes it can leave ridges where the glue line has dried. And so what I'm just trying to do is squeeze it out as best I can so there aren't any of those glue ridges. I think I'll continue this end paper on the little pocket, and I trimmed it just at a slight angle here just so that it won't interfere with the cover in some way, just in case it sticks out a little bit. So I think I'll take the second half of that same sheet and I'll use it here. There's a couple of other things I want to do to this. I think I'll use this. This is a thinner scrapbooking paper. I'm going to cut some stripes to go down each edge, and then I might do some corners. We'll see how that works out. A new Distress Ink vintage photo. I actually bought this last summer. I unpacked it and then I lost it. So I'm just getting it unpacked. Okay, let's see. My last ink pad never really had much ink in it. So I'm just going to glue this right down here. By the way, I got this squeegee. It's not really a squeegee, it's a hard plastic scraper in the kitchen accessories department at Walmart. The company's called Progressive. It's for scraping out pans and mixing bowls and things like that. But I thought it would be really good for this. And I think it is. I'm going to try some book corners. Use this arabesque scissors. Just like this. I'm going to measure it just to make sure I get it even. So that's, let's see, 2.5 centimeters. I always find it easier to measure small stuff with centimeters. So I'll measure the middle of that circle to the middle of that circle. There and right there. Here goes. I'm just going to glue the edge. Our book corners are done, and now we can put some ink on the edges of our book, make it look nice and old and well loved. I like to put something in the pocket when I'm gluing it on, just to make sure that it'll be able to hold stuff without it being too tight. One more thing I want to do to this book is to glue the spine. It's not necessary for a French sewn book to be glued, but I just want to give it some extra strength, and I want to protect it, the edges, when it's being used. So I'm going to use my bookbinding paste for that. So this is PVA glue that I use when I'm doing other kinds of bookbinding. Don't need a whole lot. This is my handy dandy book clamp. I made this out of scraps and some wing nuts. So, as much as I would love to have a beautiful antique book press or book clamp, they can get kind of expensive. I'm going to put this in here and let's see if it'll fit. It fits pretty good right there. So I'm going to raise this up a little bit. So I'm just going to let that dry overnight, and I will be back. And this will help to make the spine a little bit firmer. Thanks for watching my video. It was sort of a 2-for-1 video because I made a Commonplace book and we learned about that in part 1, and then I did a French Sewn Binding, which I also did in part 1. And now the cover is done. The inside covers are done with little pockets. I've started using it. Under H, I'm starting Human Nature. I've stamped numbers on the pages so that when I go into the index, I can put this particular book that started on page 1. Have a great day crafting! Bye-bye!